Hello everyone, it's been a long time since I made a video. You know, I actually made a video a couple of weeks ago, or maybe even a couple of months ago now. But the file corrupted, and so because of that, I was so discouraged because it took so long to edit. I mean, not edit, but it's just a whole process to get it all set up, that I have not touched this in a while. But I figured, you know, I don't even have any expectations or know what I'm really going to talk about for this video, but I figured I would show you some of the new purchases that I had made off of the buy sell trade from Chic Sparrow, as well as some new purchases with Lacal, and I figured I would just show you and maybe talk about HandStitchedLeatherT a little bit and see how that goes. So let's start with Lacal. So I'm usually in a B6 Slim notebook, sometimes a pocket, but sometimes I get the overwhelming urge to go back to narrow. And I never really consistently used narrow until I got this notebook. So I've always looked at the Lacal videos and that kind of thing, like review videos on YouTube. And I really enjoyed Lola Mitchell's, her videos that showed the peacock leather with the brownie. I don't think she has her tan anymore that has that, but I was really inspired by what she had, and so I had ordered this from Diamond, which is the peacock green leather. This is, I think, the vintage tan leather, and then the brownie leather. And I love the brownie. There's like this kind of cutout part of the pocket where he sewed in another strip of leather on here, and it's got a little piece cut out, and it's technically, what is it called? Like the mountain pocket, which was not what I originally talked about when I sent my idea and drawing to Diamond. But when he talked about like pricing and stuff, he just said, oh, this will basically be the mountain pocket. So I was like, okay, sounds good, deal. But I just love it. I love the different textures. So peacock green here is just really pebbly. The tan gives a little bit more structure to it against this contrasting, like really floppy kind of leather. And then the brownie gives even more structure, and it's a different type of smoothness. So it's like, this has texture just like the peacock does, but it has a different kind of texture, and it brings more structure. So that way when I hold it, it's, I usually hold it at the bottom of the notebook, so I'll hold it with my right or my left hand, but it's got structure right here, and then the rest of this can kind of flop afterwards. And on the inside, I really like the inside of this peacock green leather, because it reminds me almost of like 70s shag carpet, but in the most complimentary way. It's got all these fuzzies. If you look at old Midori Traveler's notebook videos from the Travelers Company brand, you can see that their notebooks have like these fuzzies attached to them, and I found something similar here with the Lacal cover. And I use this, I've been using like the cheapo inserts lately, and so I used this for about a month or so. I really enjoyed it. There's like a couple of minor cosmetic things that I think I'm going to ask Diamond about to see how I can fix that, which is why I stopped using this one, but I really love it. Really love the leather. I'm tempted to order another tan with these two colors again, with the peacock green and just the brownie. Maybe not do the vintage tan this time, but I love this cover. No regrets by any means. And then I'll briefly go over what I have purchased. Let's see. Oh my gosh, I've got my robe on. I recently got the Chic Sparrow Desmond in a Pocket Plus, because I was trying to go a little bit cheaper because I was going to use A6, so I got the Pocket Plus, and I really like it. It's an odd texture. It's almost as if I were going to only use the leathers that are available right now in 2020 and only talk about those leathers, I would say this is a cross between the Carol and maybe Enchanted Woods had a baby. This is what this would kind of feel like. So it's very soft to the touch, but it's supple. It's got a thick kind of weight to it. Almost reminds me of maybe like a really thinned out, maybe not really thinned out, but a thinned out creme brulee almost, with the softness that the Dormouse from the Carol collection also has. And I was a little iffy about these wavy pockets, but I don't mind. I've got like little random bits that I've used for collaging and that kind of thing. And so I really like this notebook. I'm definitely going to keep it. I've been using it for poetry. Let's see. Oh, and then I also got an Earl Grey, which I so regret not getting an Earl Grey earlier. I got it right as they, it was like on clearance. Earl Grey was being retired. And so I'll only talk about it just a little bit because I know it's retired right now. But I love this so much because when I opened it, there was this and I gasped. There's all these rolls and the pockets are just so pretty. I immediately fell in love. It's got the structure enough to where when it's holding like the cheapo inserts from Michaels, it has enough structure to where I feel like I could go outside and go, you know, right on a picnic table, or go right on you know, in a field if I were sitting in the grass. You know, it's like kind of a rough explanation, but I just feel like that structure allows me to be able to take it out places instead of, whereas like with the Desmond, I mean, I'm really only probably going to be writing poetry at home because I don't want anybody else to read it. And so with Desmond, it's okay to be floppy because it's not really going anywhere. Whereas if I were going out and about and traveling somewhere or needing to put it in my lap, I wouldn't want all of this flop. I would want something a little bit structured that could replicate a table, basically, if I didn't have one. So the next thing I got off the buy-sell trade is this buttered rum, and let me tell you, I'm so excited for buttered rum to come in 2021. I have plans. I want to get a narrow in the buttered rum, potentially. I really want to get a narrow in the black Maverick, and then potentially maybe a wide in the buttered rum or a narrow in the buttered rum, because it's so pretty, and I really like it without the patina, but I'll take the patina if it comes. And I know a lot of people have been talking about the pen loop recently. I like this old pen loop. I have no qualms with it. Here's the front. It's beautiful. I don't know what I'm going to use it for outside of a journal. It's a B6 size. It's perfect in every way. Someone put it online. Within like a minute or so, I like posted that I was interested. And I'm just so grateful for the buy-sell trade. All of the wonderful people on there. Like, seriously, some of those ladies on there, and I'm sure there are men as well, but the ladies that I have interacted with on the buy-sell trade are just so sweet and kind, and they just add little extra notes and stuff. Like, it just reminds me that you are like truly with your people. I've just had good positive interactions with them. It's been lovely. So let's take a second. Let's move into the HandStitchedLeatherT world. So this is my black wide HandStitchedLeatherT in the black that I got off of the buy-sell trade. I think there's Facebook Journalin BST or something like that. And I think HandStitchedLeatherT is so interesting. So to my understanding, the more saturated the leather is with the color, and kind of like the darker the color, the easier it is to pick up the grit. And I'm only talking about the leathers like the mahogany and the black that are that have this glaze or this shininess to it. I'm not talking about the tobacco, which that's got a fuzzy kind of suede almost feel. But for these that have the shiny aspect to it, I really like it. And I've noticed that of this and my mahogany, this one picks up more, not dirt, but I guess I should take a step back. So when you first get a HandStitchedLeatherT, it's probably going to be really squeaky. And my suspicion is that's why it's not as popular as maybe Shakespeare. I don't know if that's availability or the squeakiness or anything like that. But when you first get a hand stitch leather tee, it's going to be super squeaky. So this is a back pocket. I don't use it very often. And it's pretty squeaky. And the pockets will squeak against each other, right? So they'll squeak against each other. It's kind of hard to make it in the moment. But it happens a lot when you're closing and opening and just using it in daily life. But what I've noticed is that this black one compared to my mahogany, this black one will absorb the, I say grit, but like the oils and the whatever off of my hands, and that then turns it into something really soft and really buttery. So so this is a squeak right there. This is a squeak. And I'm trying to be fair and use the same pressure, right? So because I've been holding this in my hand like this, or holding the notebook kind of like that, it's absorbed this oil and whatever from my fingers. And I can feel this is much smoother than the edges, whereas the edges still feel a little tacky. And when I say tacky, it's not like a criticism, it just feels like this has been more untouched, whereas this has been an aged leather. Like, you know when you get, or if you've ever gotten new leather boots, or if you were a horse rider back in the day and you had leather boots or anything like that, when you first put them on, they're super hard to put on, right? So like they're super difficult to put on. You have to like squeeze or get the boot straps to like pull them up. But the more you wear them and the more you wear them, they slowly like age and melt into and kind of soften into the lines that you create. That's what this reminds me of, like hand stitched leather tee in comparison to a Darcy buttered rum. I think it's a whole different ball game. So whereas like hand stitched leather tee will mark up to a degree and will show patina and age, it would just take a lot longer. So this is more of a long game, whereas like a buttered rum, it's gonna happen immediately, and all the markings will happen kind of instantaneously, and you can immediately see the notebook's journey, I guess, if that's the word you want to use. Whereas with this one, this is more of like, this is the 20-year plan. Whereas this is a 5-year like get rich plan in terms of having your notebook marked up and like looking really worn. Like this, here's another example. Like the Earl Grey, all this was from my keys in the bag one time. And I was like, what the heck? It's only happened once. You know, this looks like it has been used for a really long time. It was only used for maybe a month, maybe like 3 weeks or so, something like that. I don't know, something like that. And I'm sure the buttered rum will show the same thing once I start using it. Whereas the hand stitched leather tee is, I've had this for a long time. It's my school notebook. I'm in like a master's program, and so I use it for school notes. And I also teach at a school. So like this is going to school with me every day. This is getting beat up. This is getting used. I don't really know if you can see some of the markings. You could see some of it in this lighting. Whereas with this one, you can kind of see the markings here already. And it's been going in my backpack every day. You can kind of see the line there from the string. There's like this thing that's there. It looks really shiny for some reason in this light. Maybe because the lamp's right next to it. But anyway, so this is showing its age, but it's going through a lot to show it. And I've noticed this is showing more than the mahogany wood. And then the tobacco, I think, is a whole different conversation. But I really love this. This is kind of like the long game. It's going to show its wear eventually, but it's going to take a lot of work and a lot of effort, which I think that would be more worth it for this to show age and for this to be really smooth and marked up and look kind of worn in comparison to the buttered rum or the Earl Grey, whereas it just kind of happens instantaneously. So I think psychologically and or emotionally, it's about what you're looking for. And it's kind of nice to have both options as well. Whereas this one, I mean, if you want to put it on a psychological level, this is a school notebook. This is I'm gonna be in school for like 3 or so years, something like that. Like, this is gonna be around for a long time. It's gonna show my whole school journey, but it's still gonna be usable, and it still kind of looks professional while I'm using it. Whereas like the Earl Grey notebook is gonna look really beat up and really homemade, like a journal, really quickly. So that was a very long rant about HandStitchedLeatherT. I love HandStitchedLeatherT. I would really like to buy more. I wish there was more on a buy-sell trade or something like that, because I think her shop is closed for right now, but I would love to get a narrow in the mahogany and the green. Oh my gosh, there's a green somewhere. There is a green notebook, and I've seen it on the website, or I've seen it somewhere. That in a pocket or like a narrow, would be amazing. That would be so amazing. That would be my ultimate goal, but I think she's going to open up her shop. It's going to be quite a while, at least from what I saw last time. So I figured I would show what I'm currently using now as my last little bit here. And I hesitate to show this because it's not available with Chic Sparrow, and that's like the thing with Chic Sparrow. They discontinue so many leathers so quickly that it's hard to be able to show stuff that other people can't find, you know. But I have been looking for these two specific TNs for a really long time, like a year now or something like that. And that would be this B6. It's an Evanwood E-Class. I'm in love. I have been so obsessed with the E-Class design. I missed out. I don't know where I was or where Chic Sparrow was in my life, like around 2019. I think I just like went on a Chic Sparrow hiatus for a while there, but the E-Class is my favorite design of all time. This Evanwood is my favorite leather of all time. It's just 1000% amazing. It's everything I could possibly look for in a leather. If I could purchase as many sizes that I use, I totally would. If there was a creme available, I would totally get that too. I just really love this E-Class design, and I'm bummed that I missed out on it, but I'm grateful to have what is available now. And so I love this. It's a B6. I have the cheapo Michaels inserts that I have ruggedly cut with a pair of scissors here to turn into B6. The little pocket thingy here from Michaels, the pen loop, which has been oh so eloquently clipped. I haven't figured out what I'm going to do permanently with that. And then there's the back there. But I am in love with this. I feel like I'm going to be in this for at least 6 months to a year. Watch me say that. And then like next video, I'm like, oh, I changed to da-da-da. But I really love this. Very grateful to have found it on the BST. And then the last thing that I have is my poetry notebook, which it was in the Desmond here, and then when I found this next one on the buy-sell trade, I just immediately moved in. And that would be the A6 version of the E-Class in Evanwood, and I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. This is my poetry journal. I found this off the buy-sell trade, and the woman who sold this to me was so sweet and so kind. She added in this dashboard with my first initial here, which, I mean, who does that? That is so sweet. And it's like all laminated or scotch taped up, you know, whatever it is. It's got little pockets. She made these little dashboards. Like, she is so sweet. This is why the journaling community and like the Chic Sparrow, like all my ladies and men included, I just don't know any men, I want to include them, make sure they're counted for, but everyone is just so sweet and so kind. There's just something really special and precious and almost like sacred in a way what this the whole Chic Sparrow journaling community is about. Like, I really appreciate the ability to talk with everyone and interact with people in there, and then I appreciate the people in general. And then this is my poetry notebook. It's a Stylogy 365, something like that. And then I've got that, and that is my poetry notebook. So yes, so that is what's been going on in my journaling life. I feel like I've been purchasing so many B6 notebooks and so many notebooks that I just love so much, but then there's not enough time. Not that there's not enough time, but I want to use each one equally and like well enough. You know, give them the page time that they deserve almost. But they're just so good. There's so many good things that are just so available. So I just feel very appreciative to have found various things. I really love HandStitchedLeatherT as always, and I think that is about all that I have. So I guess I'll show some of the notebooks that I've talked about. I'm not gonna take them out of their little covers there. And then Lacal right there. There you go. Well, I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and stay safe, stay happy, and stay journaling. Bye now.